of the many challenges faced by the self-learning novice bowyer. Finding a suitable piece of wood is perhaps the hardest, and in the UK often we have to use secondary bow woods in order to practice, and I search mile upon mile of the English hedgerow looking for staves, for straight pieces of wood from which to make bows and longbows. And slowly but slowly I'm working my way through the hedgerow species of the UK, experimenting, making bows, breaking bows, but learning all the time. And I've been on a quest recently to find my next piece of bow wood, and I thought you might like to join me. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, please do subscribe. Hit the bell button below to get updates of my latest uploads. Anyway, thanks for being here, and let's get on with the video. The Great English Hedgerow! But is the English hedgerow a good place to look for bow woods? The English hedgerow has been with us for countless centuries, but it's not a naturally occurring feature. Nearly every hedge has been planted for a purpose. You see, a hedgerow can mark a boundary. It can delineate property. It can act as a stock fence. And in fact, a good thick hedge is proof against human invasion. But what fascinates me is it possible in these hedgerows of England to find wood from which to make a bow? But the problem with that idea is that the hedgerow is a managed feature of the landscape. It's often cut, it's often flayed, it's sometimes thickened at the base to make impenetrable against stock. Sometimes it's cut to be decorative. But one way or another, very few tall, straight stems ever seem to grow in an English hedgerow. And that's the difficulty, finding good, straight pieces of wood in a hedgerow. But if you look hard, there are places where trees and shrubs grow without ever being cut. And this is just one such place. It's the junction between an old hedge and an even older wood. Here, the trees grow unhindered. And it's here we'll start our search for some bow wood. So what kind of trees can be found in the English hedgerow? And perhaps more importantly for this quest, which of those trees might make a decent bow. So first, let's go and look at the tree species that can be found in the modern English hedgerow that might just make a bow, if only they could grow tall enough and straight enough. And after that, I'll then move on to species that I know for sure make really, really good bows. So this is the first tree I come across. It's quite tall, growing at this junction between the wood and the hedgerow, and it's Sycamore. Now Sycamore is not native to the UK, but it's been established here for many centuries. I've not yet made a bow out of it, but if I do, this is the one I'm going to use. So now I'm just inside the corner of this junction between the hedge and the wood, and look at this. This is a lovely sapling of sycamore. It's possibly about 10 years old, nice and straight. This, one day, I hope, might make a bow. Let me show you the leaves. So this is the very distinctive leaf of the sycamore tree. Quite beautiful, isn't it? But notice how smooth the bark is on this young tree compared to a mature specimen. Let's go have a look at that. So this is a mature sycamore, and just look at the bark, how craggy and scaly it is. Here in the English Midlands, the flowering season of the sycamore is almost at an end now. But here are the little winged seeds that later in the season will twirl down in a breeze from this massive sycamore tree and start the life again of many, many more sycamore saplings. So here's another bowwood candidate. It's holly. So now I'm right inside the junction of the hedge and the wood, and underneath this holly tree. I'd love to try to make a bow from holly, but I've not yet found a really good piece. But I do know some that hopefully in the next 12 months might just become ready to be felled. But this one, it's full of knots, wiggles and twists, and is a little bit too thick for me to take down. But what a lovely tree. And this is the bark of the holly, smooth, rather grey, and without much character. These are the very distinctive leaves of the evergreen holly. It's May in the UK, and the holly is in full bloom. These flowers will eventually, in the autumn and winter time, provide glorious crimson berries that we associate so strongly with Christmas time. And just a few yards from the holly and the sycamore is this, an absolutely stunning silver birch. I've no idea how old this tree is, but I always stop and look at it each time I come by. It's absolutely wonderful, and the seeds from this silver birch throw many seedlings, and over there are some that might just make a bow. So this is a silver birch sapling. It's growing just outside the boundary of this wood alongside the hedge. It's lovely and straight, but it has many, many branches. It may make a bow, it may not, but if I have a try, it will be this tree that I use. The silver birch has beautiful delicate leaves and coppery coloured branches. This one is really, really elegant, draping as it does over this footpath. These are the lovely delicate leaves of the silver birch. and this is the distinctive silvery white bark of this silver birch sapling. So that's a quick look at some hedgerow species that are on my to-do bow list. Of course, there are many, many others. There's rowan, cherry, field maple. My quest to find a new bow wood in the English hedgerow with which to experiment and hopefully make a bow covers many, many miles, and in so doing I pass by the species that I've already tried. Ash, for example. English elm. Hazel. Elder. But no survey of the English hedgerow is complete without the thorns. The thorns are the mesh that binds together the impenetrable English hedgerow. And there are two species commonly associated with the hedgerow. This is one of them. It's blackthorn, and here at the end of this hedgerow, which is uncut and untrimmed, there are many fine, straight, tall blackthorns. Now in my limited experience, blackthorn makes amazing bows, but there is a tree next to it that we all know as the hedgerow thorn, and that will be my next bow. It's hawthorn. This is hawthorn. So this is a stem of hawthorn. So join me in part 2 of the hedgerow bow to see whether or not I can turn this wonky stave of hawthorn into a bow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.